The Great Emu War, when Australia's military was defeated by birds. Today we're diving into one of history's most bizarre military operations, a conflict so strange that it sounds like it came straight from a comedy sketch. I'm talking about the Great Emu War of 1932, when the Australian military took up arms against thousands of flightless birds and lost. In the aftermath of World War I, the Australian government encouraged many veterans to take up farming in Western Australia. The government offered land under a soldier settlement scheme, promising prosperity and a fresh start. But by 1932, these farmers were facing two major challenges. The Great Depression had caused wheat prices to plummet, and an estimated 20,000 emus had migrated inland for breeding season, directly into farming territory. These weren't just any birds. The emu is Australia's largest native bird, standing up to 6.6 feet tall and weighing around 130 pounds. They're flightless, but can sprint at speeds up to 30 miles per hour. And they were hungry. The emus began feasting on the struggling wheat crops and damaging fences, allowing rabbits and other pests to enter the fields, creating a desperate situation for the already struggling farmers. The farmers, many of them being ex-soldiers, knew exactly whom to call. In October 1932, a delegation of farmers from the Campion district approached Defense Minister Sir George Pearce with an unusual request. They wanted machine guns to combat the emu invasion, and surprisingly, the government agreed. Major G.P.W. Meredith of the 7th Heavy Battery of the Royal Australian Artillery was dispatched to the region, along with 2 soldiers, 2 Lewis machine guns, and 10,000 rounds of ammunition. The mission was simple: cull the emu population to prevent further crop destruction. The operation was even to be filmed by a cinematographer from Fox Movietone News. What could possibly go wrong? The first engagement took place on November 2, 1932, near Campion. The soldiers spotted a group of about 50 emus and set up an ambush. When the birds came into range, the gunners opened fire. The results were underwhelming. The machine gun jammed after only a few rounds, and the few birds that were hit scattered quickly, taking most of the flock with them. 2 days later, the troops encountered a flock of about 1,000 emus. This time, they opened fire with better results. But the emus proved remarkably resilient. As one witness described it, the emus have proved that they are not so stupid as they look. Each mob has its leader, always an enormous black-plumed bird standing fully 6 feet high, who keeps watch while his fellows busy themselves with the wheat. At the first suspicious sign, he gives the signal, and the whole flock takes headlong flight. Even when hit, many birds just kept running. The Lewis guns, designed for sustained fire from a fixed position in trench warfare, proved ineffective against fast-moving targets in open terrain. The birds split into small groups, making them difficult to target effectively. Major Meredith later compared the emus to tanks, noting, "If we had a military division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, it would face any army in the world." After the first week, the results were pitiful. 2,500 rounds of ammunition had been fired, and the number of birds killed was reported to be somewhere between 50 and 200, hardly a dent in the population of 20,000. News of the operation quickly spread, and the media had a field day. Journalists mockingly referred to it as the Great Emu War, a name that stuck. The operation was becoming a national embarrassment. One senator asked sarcastically if medals were to be awarded to the soldiers in this war, while another inquired if any of the troops had been injured by the emus. On November 8th, just 4 days after the campaign began, Defense Minister Pearce ordered a withdrawal. Major Meredith and his men had expended a great deal of ammunition with little to show for it. However, the farmers weren't satisfied, and they petitioned for the military to return. On November 13th, the war resumed. This time, the soldiers adopted new tactics, attempting ambushes from the backs of trucks. But the rough terrain made accurate shooting impossible. The emus, meanwhile, seemed to be developing their own counter-strategies, splitting into smaller groups and becoming increasingly wary of humans. By December 10th, Major Meredith claimed about 986 birds had been killed, using around 9,160 rounds. That's approximately 10 bullets per confirmed kill, not exactly an efficient use of military resources. With mounting criticism and limited success, the government finally withdrew the military for good on December 10, 1932. The Great Emu War was officially over, with the emus emerging as the clear victors. In the aftermath, the government took a different approach. They introduced a bounty system in 1934, which proved more effective. Farmers were paid for each emu beak they turned in, providing both financial incentive and allowing those with local knowledge to handle the problem. In just 6 months, over 57,000 bounties were claimed. The Great Emu War teaches us several valuable lessons. First, it demonstrates the challenges of wildlife management and the unintended consequences of human settlement on natural migration patterns. The emus weren't invading, they were following their traditional paths, which now happen to intersect with farmland. Second, it shows the limitations of military solutions for ecological problems. Complex environmental issues rarely have simple, force-based solutions. As one ornithologist noted at the time, the machine gun is not the remedy for the control of emus. Third, it reminds us of the resilience and adaptability of nature. The emus demonstrated remarkable intelligence, speed, and toughness that frustrated military efforts to control them. Today, the Great Emu War stands as a quirky chapter in Australian history, often recounted with a healthy dose of self-deprecating humor. It has become something of a national joke. The time Australia went to war with birds and lost. Memes and humorous retellings of the story circulate widely online. But beneath the humor lies a fascinating case study in human-wildlife conflict and the challenges of sustainable agriculture in harsh environments. Modern farmers in Western Australia still contend with emus and other native wildlife, but they now employ more sophisticated methods like exclusion fencing rather than machine guns. The legacy of the Great Emu War lives on in Australian culture, a reminder that sometimes in the contest between humans and nature, nature comes out on top. And perhaps there's a humbling lesson in that for all of us. In the words of Major Meredith himself, "It's not a bird, it's a bloody veteran of war." Thanks for watching this bizarre slice of history. If you enjoyed learning about the Great Emu War, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more unusual historical tales. Until next time, remember, in Australia, even the birds can win a war.